Welcome to This Week in East Brunswick. It's time once again for the 40th annual Friends of the Library Bargain Book and Media Sale, and EBTV hit the Brunswick Square Mall to talk with shoppers. Then we head over to the East Brunswick Historical Society as they continue their Dark Side of New Jersey lectures, this time with Sue Kaufman, as she discusses the Cat Swamp hijacking and murder in Sussex County. Then Mayor David Stahl visits Gidget's Second Chance for a business spotlight at the Summerhill Square Marketplace. All this, plus we have information on the upcoming 31st annual Ralph Lamo Memorial Breakfast, benefiting the Daisy Association, and the East Brunswick High School's Folio Club's Night of the Arts here at the East Brunswick Public Library. So stay with us.
This is Vivian Leong reporting for This Week in East Brunswick, and we're here today at Brunswick Square Mall for the 40th Annual Bargain Book and Media Sale, sponsored by the Friends of the Library. Let's check it out. I understand that it's the 40th Annual Bargain Book and Media Sale. How special is it this year?
Well, it's always special because it's our most important fundraiser, and it's our biggest service to the community as well, since we make money, but people get a very good deal on their books, and that's what we like to share. Everything that we have here is either a library discard or a donation from the public. The public has been very generous in donating things over the years. We accept donations all year round, and our donation guidelines can be found on the library's website.
And I saw there's a lot of people here, a huge turnout. How did you prepare for this event?
We sort books all year round. We put them into categories. We get the youth council to help us set up the tables and move the books around. We had crowd control because for the first time this year, we had a preview morning where people paid $25 each to come in, so the people who were normally very aggressive about trying to buy books for their stores were finished before anybody came in. So it seems to be a very orderly and comfortable first day of the sale.
And what can people throughout Central Jersey find at the 40th Annual Bargain Book and Media Sale?
We have movies on DVD, we have audio books on CD, we have music CDs, we have a lot of trade paperbacks and hardcover fiction, we have a lot of history and foreign language and big art books and lots of children's books, young adult books, manga, we have science fiction and mystery, we have SAT and GRE preparation books. We have books about hobbies. We have pretty much everything.
And how did you find out about the 40th Annual Bargain Book and Media Sale?
I actually just came to the mall today and saw the books here and saw that they were a great price, so figured I'd take a look.
And I understand that you bought something. What did you get?
Yes, I got The Lovely Bones and The Kite Runner.
What kind of bargain did you get from it?
A very good one, actually. Probably about both those books would be about $20 in like a Barnes & Noble. I got them for $4, so.
Did you know about this prior to this year?
No, I didn't, but actually now maybe I'll come back. They have it. They actually have a lot of DVDs and TV series from that section, so I actually wasn't expecting them to have that much.
I had no problem finding books that I like. I just enjoy coming and looking at the books. I usually come more than one day because the books change, so I come 2 or 3 times during the week. I live real close, so it's easy for me just to get over here.
And is this your first time here?
No, I've been coming here for years, maybe even 20 years, maybe longer.
And what did you get this year?
I got a Jeffrey Archer novel. It's a follow-up to his first book, which is Only Time Will Tell, and this one, The Sins of the Fathers, and then I got a Leon Yours book. I haven't read him in a long time.
And what kind of bargain did you get from them?
Well, the books were $3 each, so you can't beat that.
And who would you recommend the Bargain Book and Media Sale to?
Anybody really who likes to read or watch TV, movies, they have everything.
The proceeds go toward any program that you go to at the library, whether it's the international film festivals or the children's programs or the Saturday Stitch. All of that is funded by the Friends of the Library. If you are sitting on the comfortable chairs in the quiet reading area at the back of the library or the new chairs where the magazine section is, those items were purchased by the Friends of the Library. When you walk on the carpeting in the meeting rooms, that was purchased by the Friends of the Library. Anything that we feel goes beyond, that the library feels goes beyond the regular budget, that should not be coming from taxes, has been, for the most part, has been funded by the Friends. There are certain things like Robert Wood Johnson, I believe, is sponsoring this just for the health of it, and we do have some other corporate sponsors, but a lot of the stuff there is because of us.
And how can people find more information about the Bargain Book and Media Sale?
Well, you can come to the mall this week. We are here until Sunday at 6 o'clock. We are open from 10 in the morning till 9:30 at night, and on Sunday from 11 until 6. We will be here, and to find out about donating to the library through the course of the year, check the website, check ebpl.org, and look at Help the Library Donate Books. We have all of our guidelines there. I've been on the Friends Board for over 30 years now. It's been a very big part of my life. The library is a very big part of the town, and I think it works well for everybody.
Okay, thank you very much. Don't forget to check out the 40th Annual Friends of the Library Bargain Book and Media Sale starting March 24th until March 30th during Brunswick Square Mall hours 10 a.m. until 9:30 p.m. I'm Vivian Leon reporting for This Week in East Brunswick, and we'll see you next week.
The East Brunswick Historical Society held Part 4 in its Dark Side of New Jersey series this past weekend. The talk featured Sue Kaufman, publisher of HiddenNewJersey.com, who discussed a little-known murder and hijacking that took place in Sussex County.
Hi, I'm Sue Kaufman, publisher of HiddenNJ.com, and I'm pleased to be at the East Brunswick Historical Society today to talk about murder, silk, and hijacking, history on the side of the road. And this is the story, very little-known story, of a hijacking which took place on Route 206 in Sussex County in 1921. One of the things that I do for my website is travel around the state looking for interesting things that people may not necessarily know about our state. And one of the things that helps me in that is actually roadside markers. You know, you're driving down the road, you know, maybe at 50 miles an hour, and all of a sudden you see one of those blue markers on the side of the road. We're all kind of familiar with those. And most of the time they seem fairly pedestrian. You know, maybe George Washington slept here, or this is a historic church that has meaning for a community. Then every once in a while you find one that just stops you cold. And that is one of the stories that I'm going to talk about today, how I discovered the Cat Swamp hijacking and murder. We were driving along Route 206 in Sussex County. All of a sudden, you know, you get trained after a time when you're looking for these signs. They pop up out of nowhere, my eyes just go straight for them. And I'm looking, and I'm expecting to see historic church, or this road was built in this time, or whatever. And that's exactly what it said, Cat Swamp, hijacking and murder. Along with a bunch of print that was really, really small. And I thought, I couldn't have seen what I thought I saw. So we turned around, because of course we were curious, we had to find out. And fortunately, on the side of the road, busy Route 206, there was a fairly wide shoulder, so we were able to park, and I took a picture. And this is what the sign said. In this area, on Cat Swamp Hill in Byram Township, at about 6 o'clock a.m., on June 14th, 1921, the Sussex print silk truck was hijacked. Albert Coster drove onto the scene on his motorcycle, was mistaken for a state trooper, and murdered. The gang escaped with $11,000 of Bolt silk. Through the work of Franklin Police Chief Herbert C. Irons, the killers were eventually captured. County Sheriff Linus Littell and Prosecutor Louis Van Blarcon persevered through 2 years of trials to obtain convictions of the thieves, 2 of whom were executed for the murder. That's quite a story, right? It's like Law and Order, Sussex County. This was kind of like the TV guide description of the whole thing on the marker. It was up to some research and some old newspapers and some things that also I was able to find on the internet to come to a solution as to why all of this made sense and to bring, flesh to the bare bones of the story. So my first research led to a fairly simple answer to the issue about the silk factory, okay? As it turns out, Newton, which is the county seat for Sussex, was home to one of the biggest silk producers in the state, which was the Sussex Print Mill. It was built in 1895 by a man named Thomas Bentley, who actually had a silk mill already in Paterson. And his idea was that, as you might be familiar, there was a lot of labor unrest that was starting to kind of foment at the mills in Paterson. His thought was, if I establish a whole new mill 45 miles away in Newton, there's a good chance that the people up there and the people in Paterson are never going to talk to each other. So if all of my workers in Paterson go out on strike, I still have production going on in Newton. But that, of course, meant that there needed to be some traffic going back and forth. He needed to get his product both to market in New York City, and he also needed to get unfinished goods, some of them to Paterson, to his other plant, where they would be worked. So on a daily basis, the Sussex Print Mill truck would be going down what is known today as Route 206. Back in the day, though, it was known as the Newton-Stanhope Road. Okay, and if you're familiar at all with Sussex County, it's I see somebody in the back is going like this, which is absolutely true. There are lots of hills, and the roads also kind of go like this sometimes because they're trying to go around the hills. It seemed the perfect place that if you were going to hijack a truck, that would be the perfect location. So that brings us to the morning of June 14th, 1921. The day started uneventfully enough for Claude Resch and Charles Maines, who were the driver and the helper on the Sussex Print Mill truck that morning. They show up to work in Newton, and they get their assigned truck for the day. And they get a rather light load. It's about 7,000 yards of silk on bolts. And usually they carry about twice that much, but that day they were also charged with bringing some equipment down to the shop in Paterson, and that was copper print rollers. So they get into the truck in Newton and they start going down the road southbound towards the road that will ultimately bring them to New York City. Around the same time, Albert Coster is waking up and getting ready for his job. He lives in Andover, which is about 10 miles south of Newton, and he's having his breakfast with his wife and his 10-year-old daughter, and he gets on his motorcycle, preparing to drive down to Stanhope, to his job at a gravel pit. So Resch and Maines are already on their way down the road when they hit that first curve. And as they're slowing down, all of a sudden, out of the side of the road, out of the woods, pop 6 men, masked men. All you can see, basically, is the whites of their eyes. Guns drawn. And Resh, who's driving, looks and says, okay, we're gonna stop. Well, 4 of the hijackers were not willing just to let Resh and Maine sort of, walk off, like, okay, what do you want to do? You want to tie us up? Okay, fine, tie us up. Rather, they started pushing them with the butts of their guns into the woods, just constantly prodding them at what was described in the New York Times as breakneck speed. It took a couple of months until there was finally a break, and they were able to get identification on 6 men who were involved, including a man named Antonio Laturca, who was known on the street as Tony Turca. And he was supposed to be the ringleader. And according to what they were hearing, he was a really nasty guy. Ultimately, on January 29th, 1924, both men were executed in the electric chair at Newark State Prison. The law enforcement community and the people of Sussex County felt that justice had been done. There had been no proof that anybody else had committed these crimes. But there are a lot of stories on the side of the road all over New Jersey. I mean, there's one in Hunterdon County I found that was entitled Liver Eating Johnson. You gotta stop for that one, right?
Join the Historical Society on Sunday, April 6th for the last Dark Side presentation when Rutgers University professor Angus Gillespie discusses New Jersey folklore.
Check out the best breakfast buffet in town with your friends and family at the 31st Annual Ralph Lamo Memorial Breakfast, sponsored by the Daisy Association. This popular community event is being held at the Brunswick Hilton Hotel on Sunday, April 6th from 8 a.m. to noon. Get your tickets now at the East Brunswick Recreation Office or call 732-390-6797. Tickets are priced at $10 for adults and $2 for children under 10 years old. All proceeds benefit the special children of the Daisy Recreation Program. Bring your friends, family, and neighbors to the ultimate breakfast event where a DJ will be playing the latest hits and music requests. Ticket holders are welcome to participate in games as well as the turkey tray and 50-50 raffles. Don't miss your chance to join the fun and eat favorite breakfast dishes, including bacon, home fries, eggs, pancakes, rolls, and donuts. Coffee, milk, juice, and tea will also be available. Please make checks payable to the Daisy Association, and for more information, call 732-390-6797 or visit eastbrunswick.org. We look forward to seeing you at the 31st Annual Ralph Lamo Memorial Breakfast, sponsored by the Daisy Association.
Hi, it's Mayor David Stahl with another edition of Business Spotlight. I'm really happy to be up at Gidget Second Chance at the Summerhill Marketplace right next to the Stop and Shop. And I'm here with Lisa Kenny, who's the owner of Gidget's. Welcome. And why don't you first tell us about what your overall theme here is at your store?
Well, sure, and thanks so much, Mr. Stahl. I opened Gidget Second Chance because I wanted to be more part of the community. I spent a large portion of my career working in Manhattan. I felt a little disconnected. Also, I found that consigning is a really great way of recycling. As many people know, women like to shop, and sometimes finding that perfect item just gives you a thrill. And if they only use it once, it can give somebody else a thrill again, and it can be recycled. It's a great way for gently used items, items that you're only going to maybe use once, to give somebody else a chance to get the same pleasure out of it without having to go out and buy new all the time. And plus, save a whole bunch.
When you talk about like consignment, how do you actually get your inventory here?
It's mostly local women. They're cleaning out their closets. They find that they bought things they forgot they had, so a lot of my items still have tags on them. And they're just not going to use the items anymore, so it's a good way for them to get a little extra money for them and maybe go out and buy something that suits them a little better.
And if, unfortunately, we know that people pass on, do you sometimes go out to the estate sales?
I do. I did just finish doing an estate sale. And that's always an emotional process, but, I do try to encourage the family that we will find their items a good home, and people will appreciate them. And they do, because, most of the time these people have wonderful, wonderful vintage items that you can't find anywhere else. And it's nice to have somebody else get pleasure out of them as well.
As I walked around the store, I mean, you pretty much have almost the full gamut of women's clothing, from shoes to outer coats.
I do. I have shoes, accessories, outer coats, formal wear, casual wear, everything from Gap to Gucci. My original thought was I wanted a place where teens and their moms and their grandmoms could all shop together, because that's what I like to do with my daughters, and I wanted to give the community a place that they could do that together.
And is there any particular type of clothing that you carry in terms of the style, or it's pretty eclectic?
It's pretty eclectic. I have junior jeans to, Vera Wang gowns. So I've really, it's pretty eclectic. And a lot of the items are one of a kind. And I like unique and different things. So you probably won't see yourself coming and going if you purchase something from Gidget Second Chance.
And how do we come up with the name Gidget Second Chance?
I am not Gidget. My name is Lisa, although some people like to call me Gidget, which is fine. Gidget is actually a combination of my daughters' names. I have two daughters, Jillian with a G and Bridget. So it was, I wanted to do this for them, to show them that women can be successful, that they can have a passion and go after it. And so just naming the store Gidgets just seemed like the perfect thing to do.
Lisa, you mentioned that you've given back to the community. Maybe you want to expand upon that in terms of the ways that you've helped out?
Sure. I have supported the East Brunswick Education Foundation for their fundraiser, as well as a local breast cancer fundraiser. And of course, we can't forget sports. My daughters love soccer, so I support the East Brunswick Soccer Club as well.
And when the youth come in, let's call them the teenagers, what's their reaction to a store like this?
They think it's really cool, I have to say. Just because there's so many different things and there's so many things for them to look at. I have a special rack in the back for juniors, which has, all of the brands that are popular now with the juniors, the teens. I have the pocketbooks that they like, and the shoes and the boots, and so they get a real kick out of it. And I love when school I can always tell when school lets out. The noise volume and the traffic picks up, and I just love that, because that's when the girls come in and take a look around and, just have a little fun after school.
And we're rapidly approaching the upcoming holidays. I imagine that's going to be an extra busy time for you.
Oh, I certainly hope so. Yes, we are definitely gearing up for the holidays. We have a lot of inventory. We have a lot of formal wear, if people need formal wear for the holidays. A lot of, as I said, new items that are, suitable for gift giving. So I'm really, really looking forward to the holidays and expect a lot of business during that time.
I think what also makes your store unique is that I would imagine that every time you come in here as a customer, you're going to find something different.
That's absolutely true. I would say every day you're going to find at least 2 or 3 things different, if not many more. We're constantly turning over our inventory, so you're going to find new displays. I try to change the displays accordingly and highlight different items. So yeah, it's a unique experience every time you come in.
All right, let's get to the basics. What are your store hours?
I am opened every day except Monday from 10 to 7. And also with the exception of Sunday, I do close at 5. So 10 to 5 on Sunday and 10 to 7 Tuesday through Saturday.
And your phone number up here.
I'm at 732-353-6502.
And for those who like to surf the net?
Yep, I do have a website, www.gidgets2ndchance.com.
Well, Lisa, I appreciate you taking a few minutes to speak to the residents of East Brunswick. I think it's fantastic that another small business has been created here in East Brunswick and given an opportunity for, as you say, the clothes to be recycled, reused, because they have a great shelf life and someone else is going to look beautiful in them.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
As we do, and again, as we like to say in East Brunswick, shop local. Holiday seasons are coming up. Come up and talk to Lisa and look at the beautiful clothing and accessories she has up here at Gidget Second Chance, right at the Summerhill Marketplace. Again, thanks for watching.
This is Vivian Leong reporting for This Week in East Brunswick, and I'm here with Dylan Vargas, who's a senior at East Brunswick High School, who will tell us about the Night of the Arts here at the East Brunswick Public Library. Dylan, can you please tell me more about the Night of the Arts?
Hi, well, it's hosted by East Brunswick Folio Club. It is where people from around the town can bring their own artwork or poetry, and they can read their poetry or their favorite poet. Well, it started 3 years ago because it originally was supposed to be called Coffee House, like when the club first started, but that morphed into more of a music scene, so we wanted to bring back the arts aspect. So we had an event 3 years ago called Night of the Arts at the high school for only high school students. It's basically the same thing here, read their own poetry or their favorite poets. And then this year I wanted to bring it to the whole town because I thought it was such a great event. I'm just excited to get the whole town involved because it was so isolated to the high school students. I want to just get the whole town because it's such a great program. It's on April 3rd here in the teen space of the East Brunswick Public Library from 6:30 to 8:30.
And I understand that you're looking for submissions from the township. Can you explain how that process works?
So basically we have flyers throughout the East Brunswick Public Library with our email, ebhsfolio@gmail.com, and they will have to email what they're bringing, like if they're going to read poetry or artwork, and just email us so we can figure out the organization of the room and how we present everything. So after that, it's basically us. They just have to bring in their artworks like half an hour to an hour before the event starts so we can have it set up when everyone comes here. As I said, it's April 3rd here at the East Brunswick Public Library in the Teen Center from 6:30 to 8:30.